Okay. So Fu, you're adding way too much here. Just checking, why did you add all this extra stuff? In Codepen, you don't have to worry, okay? So, remove all of that, and beautiful, okay? I just saved you 10 minutes. Okay, so the second part is, okay, it's very nice that you add the 2 demo part here. And then let's look at the code you write, okay? So what he does is that he has a demo and a demo 2 class. I think there's one more here. The second container is called React. All right, this is the second container. Okay, so let's look at what we wrote. Okay, so interesting. It only does it once. That's not good. We remember the set interval thing. So I'm gonna do this. There's a function, but I'm gonna call this function render. I'm using the new JavaScript syntax here. Okay, function that takes no argument and it's inside like this. Remember, this is the same as almost the same. It's not, but the result is the same. For now, just treat them as the same thing. Between these two, learn to write it the second way, because sometimes it's just, this is now the new, more flexible way of declaring your function. And no, I don't need any argument, okay? And I put everything inside that function, okay? So I'm gonna tap everything in here. What I'm doing next is that, notice if I put everything inside like this, see what the error is. Unexpected token, whoops. Okay, take one argument. This is it's called the fat arrow syntax, or double arrow function, okay? You see I have one function, I haven't called it. If you want to call it once, how do you do it? If you want to call it every second, you do this. Set interval, you say, give the function name, and then you give the interval time. Is that alright? Yeah. Now you see every second this update. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you change it to every 3 seconds, then this only update every 3 seconds. Alright, 43, 46. So that's set interval. Okay? Well, next, what's happening in each time you render the page? It's like when you play a video game, you move around. It's actually calling rendering 60 times per second. Here we're just calling it like once every 3 seconds. Big deal. Look, the first approach is I get the JS container, this guy, the first one, and I'm going to set some HTML inside it. So here, just to make it look a little more aligned, HTML doesn't care about the space. One more thing for you to pay attention here is the backtick. There is a difference between the way you create a string with a backtick or a regular string like this or a regular string like this. Okay? When you use the backtick like this, you can put a variable inside, similar to Ruby. In Ruby, you do this. In JavaScript, you do this. Okay? That's called string interpolation. Just adding, inserting a variable more useful, easier way to do that. Imagine this is new in ES6, but if you don't have it in JavaScript in the old days, you would have to do first name plus last name. But now with this, then you can do first name, last name. Are we clearer about that? Yeah. Okay. So the second concept is that this is a backtick syntax. It's useful. This is called the JavaScript templating, string template. So JavaScript has a different name there. Now, this bit of code, it runs every second. That's why you see the thing at the top. Every time you set the inner HTML, it will run the date function. Are we clear? it automatically changes into a string for you when you use the curly brace here. It's very similar to Ruby. It converts to string type for you. I'm looking at the second container. So good job here for that, you like setting a different class name. Notice, all right, what do we have? We are going to create an element. You won't need to learn and use this all the time. I'll show you a new way to do it. But it's important to understand this. React create element takes 3 arguments. What's the first one? Like a tag name. Yeah? Component. Second, the properties. Yeah? And notice it's not called class, it's called class name. That's the difference. And the third, and the fourth, and everything is just the content inside it.
Is it open or syntax?
Huh?
Is it open or syntax? Email syntax.
Rails?
Email syntax.
If you want Rails inside here, you have to use ERB to insert that inside. Of course, if it's ERB, then you could just separate that. If this is a .js.erb, then you can do it. If this is a .js file, then you cannot. Okay? So here you, hello React, that's good. Now notice I created an input element, I don't have anything in it. It already looks like a text field. Maybe, what if I change it to type, instead of text field, I change it to a password field. Alright? And then the third element is a paragraph. Null is one way of just also ignoring it, or you can pass nothing. Right? And that's the second. And the third element here is that I create a string based on the date. Are we good? And then I have to close this create element up top. Now this is one element. You guys see this? This is the first argument. Second argument is where you want to render, right? Where you want to render the React element to. You are rendering it to this container. Okay? So it seems to work that way. And then now here if I type, do you guys see the difference? It's a password type. You can change this to number. And this will be the integer type. You see this one? That's it. These are just different HTML that it supports. So I click here. You see that you can set the type number here. The only difference is class. You have to use class name. Okay. Now here's the beautiful thing that some of you are like, oh my god, that is so cool, right? You see how this is blinking? Every 3 seconds, this whole thing blinks. It means this whole div, everything gets replaced. So up here, if I start typing, every 3 seconds it just replaces. What I'm doing is interactive. That's beautiful. The second one, you can type anything here. It can start refreshing, but you see that it only updates this. Now one more time. Think really hard about this. Every 3 seconds, I call the render again. I say go into this React container and render this whole thing. So it should just replace it, right? But because you're calling React.render instead of calling React container.inner.html, React will just compare this guy with the HTML that it sees over here, and it only updates what needs to be updated. So that's cool? Right. Yeah. It converts that into a tree like this. If you draw it out, it will convert it into the tree, the parent node. What's a good way to draw a tree very fast? Maybe balsamic?
Board.
Yeah, that board. So we will draw this later. I'm not going to draw it now because it's going to take some time. Now guys, pay attention to this next one, right? No one can write HTML this way. This is just really hard to write. It's so much effort. It's beautiful. It's cool. So I'm going to do it the third way. In JavaScript templating style that is called JSX. Now I want you to think about this. If you use ERB in Ruby, it's a file called .erb. It's not a .rb file, right? In JavaScript, you have .ejs. You actually have some templating languages similar to ERB. Okay? In this case, we could write, it's like writing ERB inside Ruby itself. Here we're going to write JSX inside JavaScript. We're going to allow HTML inside JavaScript, and that's called JSX, HTML tags and stuff. So, in order to do that, I have to do one thing. It's like before you run the JavaScript file, make it go through the Babel preprocessor, and it can take care of understanding the syntax for you with React. So Codepen makes it easy, and of course when we work with Rails, Rails also does it for you. Now check this out. The third thing I'm doing, okay, actually I'm going to make this even simpler. I call render, this is just say render.js is one function, okay, and this function is this. I copy it out like this so you guys can see clearly. You see, as we work on things, we want to, this highlighting is not very good. Huh? We want to just refactor to make things look better. So that's the first. So I call render.js here. We understand that? Not a problem. So second, I refactor this guy out. I call this now as a function. Use the habit of using the word const. There's a new syntax as well. Render React, right? Render for the second one. And it's a function to take no argument. And then you can just do that. Copy and paste. How do you update? You call render React. We okay? So far so good. Now if this code gets run, everything works again. I'm going to create a third function called render, just this JSX example. Okay, it's going to use React, but I'll just call it JSX. Now, in my function here, then I define render JSX. Okay? First, keep things really simple. I need to get the JSX element up there. JSX. How do I get that element up here?
Element
By ID JSX. Right? Yeah. If you do the stupid way, okay, then you have just like, what's going on? What's going on? Someone help. Huh? What's wrong? I just put in the HTML in here, right? That's weird. Render JSX is not defined. I think I just render JSX. Oh, once again, guys, no one help me. All right. So, and then when you see this complete, you see the word hello here. I'm going to do the demo class one more time. I'm not going to do this. Okay? I'm not going to do this thing and like that because that's the first way. But I like the HTML syntax. Wait for a little bit. Okay. What I'm going to do is calling check this out. React DOM dot render. First element and second element, right? What is the second element? What is the second element I should use? I need to render into this guy. Remember? React container, JSX here. So I should call this like, right? This is your JSX container. So you guys can see. So this is, I should render into this container. Now check this out. I can do the div hello here, like this. Oh my god, right? That's holy moly. I just wrote HTML inside my JavaScript. How is that possible? So then you're like, okay, it's cool. Now I can just write class demo like this. This is the only thing you need to pay attention to here is you don't want to call it class. I'm just writing this syntax. It has to be called class name. Okay? Wait, so it means you say I can do the same thing as the first? Okay, so I just go and copy these guys over here. Look, input a new date like this. Right? Yeah? Let's see what happens. Well, unfortunately, right, this syntax here, it's not like that. We can't, for now, I'm going to insert that date later. But I have an HTML block here that can be rendered. You see that date? The syntax in this template is this. And it has to be converted to a string. That's why it's not showing up. You load this up here. I believe there's some error there. It's a bit hard to see that error. So I'm going to do the same thing is like toString. It's a little slow. Huh? Works. And it works in the same beautiful way. You see how I write code in a very similar to the first, but also similar to the second. So I take advantage of both power. Easy to write and easy to update.
Is there a way to get container if you want to add a sibling?
Well, here you treat it as like your biggest container, just your body container. Inside you can start doing more things. I'll show you how to insert things inside. Now, the first thing that I look at it is that I don't like putting this logic into my code. It's a template. So here I want, if only I can just do something like this. Date passed in from the outside. Okay? And that can be passed in from here. You can always have one argument here. So this blah thing can be your date. But here's the convention. This has to be a JavaScript object. And this is always called, like, we just call it props. Call it props. Not this guy, sorry. Render, we'll just keep this render thing. Render I call down here. I don't care about the argument. This date thing here. So I could do, when I render here, right? Date is new date. That toString like this. Alright. I just extract it out. So this code is a little bit better because, you know, take care of the logic and then render. Everything works. So the question is, well, it actually doesn't know how to bring it in yet. I will, yeah, it works like that. Now, next, I'm going to refactor this out. Okay? Watch this carefully, yeah? I can call this demo. That looks like HTML, no? And I can write this demo. This is the concept of demo. It's a component. And it's a function that returns your JavaScript that you just wrote just now, like this. So what is it? This is how I create a demo component, like this. And then I render it to the JSX container. So I have the demo up here. This is called a component that you will learn, but it can take some properties. You will see that it's very similar to this guy. These are the properties. And it will look like HTML like this. Okay, so let's look at why it's not showing up. Date is not defined. Makes sense. I don't have date. So you could remove this date in here. I want you to just look at this as JavaScript, okay? No magic there. JS container is the first step there. Demo is the second. It's a function, but now you can use it like this. Let's look at why the date thing is not showing up still. Still not defined. I think this is not run properly.
Isn't it props.date?
Not yet. So where's the yeah? So my next step is to bring this date inside here. Okay. So if I think I can't run it this way because I do know why. In this case, I do know why, but it's going to be a little complicated to explain. It has to be a separate render function. I'll just keep it really simple. Now, you can't set any logic in here. You cannot declare a variable. Right now, this component is really simple. It's just a function. I'm going to pass in as an argument. Let's just not get here first. Let's do the very standard demo is a function, right? And I pass in an object, date, and this date is new date dot toString. All right, do you guys understand that? It's a function that takes a JavaScript object similar to Ruby hash. It has one key. What is the key name? Date. So props. So now that props is the argument, you can say props.date. Do we understand that? And that works? Okay? But this is hard to write. Well, not hard, but it's still not like HTML. That's why it's possible to write like this. And that's when it's, it's the second time something blow our mind. Or you can close it right there, the HTML way, JS. This. So what's going on? I have a demo. Now it works like a HTML tag. Take in a date property, props, and then I can extract that date and display in here. Except it doesn't work yet, so let's see why. Oh, this error is not useful, huh? Minimize, that's fine. Let's see. React. Is it similar to what you have that I worked with you earlier, Oscar?
Not really, because we did dot right here and then passed kind of JSX, date is date.
This is JSX, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can do that just yet. non-minified level. Right now it's minified, so it's like the error is kind of hard to see. But I'm gonna keep trying. Let's see. Save and run. Come on, show me some errors. I pass it. I need to render. When you run into really strange stuff, start taking things away. Okay. To see if things work. Are we having a problem with that variable thing? Did we forget the, okay, we have JSX there, right? The most simple usage here is, what if I strip it down to the stat, and I strip it down to just this. Earlier, I think I called it demo like this, it works. You guys see that it works there? In fact, earlier, all of this still work if I call it the function right, right? This one? This is a function that returns.
I think you still have to put in date, right? Passing state.
I think that's not where the error is. Ah. Okay, good. It is where the error is. Very good. So next, see, I trace back to where things are. It takes some prompt like that. What I want to do next is to use the this one, to be able to use demo, and it's kind of interesting that I cannot. That is a little strange. So I want to make sure I can do this. Because that's the whole point, right? For example, earlier I told you guys we could do like, maybe I can do like this. Does it work? Do I have a button inside a JS container? You see this? So the standard HTML workflow, it doesn't understand this demo thing. So I don't know if the word demo is like bad. But what if I call this my demo? Okay. And so it's right now just understood as the standard div, just like anything else. That's not good. I want to declare my demo to be this guy. I wonder this should be defined outside. Still hello. What I want is this my demo to use this. Oh, that's strange. Oscar, you want to check that the code I helped right over there?
Yeah, we didn't use the HTML this time, right? Mine.
Okay, so
We just rendered the JavaScript.
we won't be able to use it first. I think it's not understood. It's not successfully converted to this yet. I think we're missing some of the React setup. So for now, right? Be okay with this, and I am going to pass in what do I call here the date to be new date to string, and passing this date. So this will be props dot date. So this is powerful because it's like this. I have, let's say I have a date component. Again, it takes prompt. It is now in the concept of component. It returned. Now, what I want is to make this work, but let's see if it works or not. Yeah? I move this here into here. So this worry about just the date, and here I want to use date component. So this demo component will use the date. Unfortunately, the way we have it set up here, I'm doing something wrong. So the reason it wasn't working earlier when I tried to inline the component in just JSX, it's because I was using lowercase. JSX requires uppercase, it's just the convention. HTML element will be lowercase. So if you write this, yes. In HTML, it's still demo and HTML5 except any kind of name. So no, I want this to be big capital. When I have it big capital, then the component name here is big capital like this. And even then, I extract it to date, big capital, like that, is the capital letter, then everything works. And you see how beautiful the flow is. I have a demo thing here that pass in the date from the outside. I can pass more. I go in here, I can even pass from the parent to the child. Here's my component one more time. One component, two components, you can stack them up. So imagine like in Boomar, right? This is a button component, this is your container component, you just start adding them. Okay, just to correct my previous mistake that I did not do the capitalized letter. And when I start doing this, even though it's the same name here, it just stopped working and we don't know why. And when we inspect, we see that the component name will be, you just see this in HTML. You just see like demo blank, right? Instead of our whole nice data. That's my demo. Did I use the word my demo somewhere? Anyway, no. So, beautiful.